That way. Yeah. You got the stencil backwards.
You should do that. You should do that.
Hey everyone, it's Troy here and we have Mark, and we're out here today doing another racket comparison play test. We have two of some of our most popular extended length rackets. Mark and I both favor an extended length racket, and the first one we have is the Yonex EZONE 98 Plus. The other one has quite a bit longer name. You want to introduce that one?
We have here the Solinco Whiteout 305 XTD Camo B2 16 main.
Yeah, there you go, 1619.
That's all it takes.
Yeah. So first thing, both of these rackets are 98 head size, both 305 unstrung in grams, and they both have a 1619 string pattern, so very similar specs on paper. For string today, we have one of our favorites between the two and our play testers. We have the actually Hyper G Hybrid. It's Hyper G in the mains, the regular, with the Hyper G round in the crosses, and we strung both of them right around 50 pounds. That's kind of a nice middle ground for me and Mark here. And just to start, I've been using extended length EZONE for maybe like 3-4 generations now. So I'm really familiar with this racket. Love the frame. And you have a pretty extensive history with extended length rackets that actually use a whiteout.
I do. I've been using the version 1 whiteout with the 18 main and extension 27.5. And overall, between these two frames, they're frames that I love pretty much from any part of the court. From the baseline, I'm gonna say the EZONE 98 Plus felt a little more plush, a little more powerful. Shot depth was easier to generate, but it was a little more difficult for me to gauge shot depth. On the other hand, the whiteout was a little more precision oriented and a little more whippy. Even though the swing weight and balance was pretty similar, I was just getting a faster swing from the baseline. So hitting angled shots was a little easier to develop or generate with the whiteout. But the power nod goes to the EZONE 98 Plus, and I'll give the precision nod a little bit more to the Whiteout 305 XTD Camo E2 16-bit.
Yeah, nice. So I felt a lot of the same way from the baseline. This racket does seem like the swing weight's maybe a little higher on average, but it just felt like it carries more plow through. You get that easier depth, that plush feel. And I think in terms of like spin potential, this one for me, even though it's 1619, it's a tighter, denser feeling 1619, kind of like a Radical. This one feels more openly spaced, kind of like a V-Core or like a Pure Arrow.
So then how did that affect your slice?
Definitely like slice better with this one. So the flatter shots and the slice better here. Spin was easier there, but I feel like the spin is just more well-balanced for me with this one. So whether I'm hitting top spin or I'm trying to drive through the ball or slice, which I do a lot, it's more balanced here. This one's more top spin friendly. So easier launch angle, easier to whip around, but I do get that precision thing that you're talking about. It does kind of feel like a pro staff in the sense that, you know, point and shoot, very predictable. So
flat beam.
If I had to pick one from the baseline, I'd probably go here just for the balance and the variety, but that one more whippy and more spin friendly.
I'm gonna go with the whiteout just by a slight margin. I agree with Troy, it's a little more precision oriented. And if I'm tired, I'm gonna say the EZONE 98 Plus is a little easier for me to play with, but if I'm fresh, I'm going with the whiteout.
Nice. So now we're moving into the net, hitting volleys. What were your feelings about these rackets?
Wow, I really like the way the 19.5 millimeter throat area of the EZONE 98 Plus breathes, flexes. It just gave this little bit of a catapult push to everything. Both rackets were about as easy to set up. I didn't have any problem with setting up. Obviously, reaching for volleys, stepping for them, you're still getting good stability. But I actually preferred volleying with the EZONE 98 Plus.
Okay, yeah, when it came to net, I think as far as like the precision of this one, like I said, it does kind of give me like that kind of pro staff vibe with the predictability and that kind of firmness. I like that about it, but I think just on my arm and my wrist, sometimes I do get a little sensitivity as far as comfort goes. The EZONE's just better for me. It pockets a little more, it's a little more plush, it's a little more dampened. Now I do like a little more feedback on my volleys, but just for arm's sake, picking the EZONE at the net. So that was baseline net. Now we're working our way to the serve. What's your thoughts about these rackets on serve?
Wow, again, that power from the baseline was evident on serve as well. I actually felt like The EZONE 98 Plus, it felt or swung longer. And I know you and Chris taught me over the years that a longer throat piece makes a racket feel longer. So I really felt like I was getting good pace in my serve, but it was a little more difficult to snap my wrist, which was kind of similar, the effect from the baseline, easier to hit angles, but easier to hit power with the EZONE 98 Plus.
So which one would you pick from the serve?
I'm going with the EZONE 98 Plus once again.
I'm actually going to go the other route. I like both of these rackets on serve, and kind of like I talked about on the baseline, when it came to flat serves and getting that plow through power, the EZONE's better for me. But since my serve's mostly based on spin, I do a lot of kick, a lot of slice. I'll go for the flat one every now and then, but mostly spin. The whiteout actually worked for me really well, and it actually accentuated that kick off the court because it is more maneuverable and the strings fill a little more space. So I was getting more grab, felt like I could whip it faster, and the issues I talk about at net with like comfort and same from the baseline, I don't really get that on serve. So I actually preferred the whiteout when it came to serves.
Nice consistency and precision as well.
Yeah, I didn't have no problem with placement.
Very nice.
Yeah. So let's go to the other side of the net, serve return. So when I'm hitting my serves at you or one of the other testers, how'd you feel about these rackets on the return?
Maybe this is just me turning a corner in terms of hitting more over the top of the ball in my return instead of relying on that chip kind of return, getting it back into play. I definitely preferred the whiteout. It was a little whippier. It was just easier for me to get through contact of one of Troy's serves. And when he hits a flat one, it's got some velocity on it and easier to get it to the other side of my body. So I was hitting way more topspin service returns, which is something I've been trying to work on. It was a little more difficult for me to do that with the EZONE 98 Plus.
For me, it was really close between the two. The whiteout gave me a little more, I felt like I was a little more dangerous on my forehand returns with the whiteout. Really liked it in doubles. Anytime a server kind of left one in the wheelhouse, so to speak, felt like I could crack it with the whiteout. I could get lots of whip and just kind of be dangerous. But overall, my consistency and the easier depth from a little more plow through here, I felt like I could chip my backhand return easier for depth and just get my all-around forehand and backhand returns deeper on average with this. And it did feel plusher, so the comfort part comes back into play here. Sometimes on those returns, I gotta keep it compact.
Right.
I don't always hit right in the middle on those serves because it's moving like crazy. So the comfort definitely helps in this instance. I'm going with the EZONE on returns.
My overall, I'm sticking with the whiteout. It was just more predictable. It's more my wheelhouse from an all-court perspective. I've been playing a lot more doubles along with singles lately, and I think this racket just complements either one of those disciplines a little bit better than the EZONE 98 Plus did.
And do you think a little bit just had to do with the fact that this one's just a little bit more maneuverable?
Yes.
For an extended length racket?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for me, definitely a plusher feel here, more comfort. And that's why I keep going back to this one, is that it takes care of my arm. Not to say that this one was bad in any means, but I just felt the firmness a little bit more. Overall, I mean, this really isn't a surprise. I've been using the ancestors of this racket for quite a while now and even really loving this one. But I will note, in stock form, this one does swing pretty clubby. And so when I play with this on a regular basis, I'm tail weighting and I'm adding probably about 5 or 6 more points head light to the balance. So heavily tail weighted to give me the maneuverability I look for. But all in all, I chose the EZONE 98 Plus.
I'm a little disappointed. I love both rackets. It's really difficult to decide from both of them. Quite comfortable. If I was gonna play a tournament, it'd be either one, but there's a slight lean for me for the whiteout.
For more information on anything tennis related, be sure to head to Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, or Tennis Only.